Hello everyone, my name is Kamini Tanwar. I am a faculty of Ajay Engineering College in IT department. Today I am going to discuss a topic that is loops in C programming. So basically this is a topic from the subject programming for problem solving. So let's start our. So in today's lecture we are going to discuss what are loop, why we need loops and different type of loops, and related some example of these loop, and at the end we are going to discuss break and continuous statement also. So what is loops? Loops are basically used when we want to execute a part of program or block of statements several times. That means before loop we are using, like if we want to print hello, suppose we want to print hello and I want to print hello 5 times, like this. 5 times I want to print this hello. Okay, for that what we have to do, we have to write every time printf hello. Okay, like this, printf hello. That means 5 times we have to basically write the printf statement. So to resolve or to resolve this problem, we are where we do not want to write again and again the same statement in our program, we are using the loops. That means we just only use this printf statement in a loop, and then we execute that loop. If we are if then we want to print this loop 5 times, then we just put this single print statement in the loop, then it will execute 5 times, or any number of time that you want to print that printf, then only we want to just put this into a loop. Okay, uh, like like just okay, like suppose we want to print hello, so I have to write this hello here, and I just put it into a loop. So here we are using, suppose I am going to use the while loop, or I just print I is less than oh sorry 5, okay, I'm taking 5 5. Okay, now when we are just executing this loop, that now we put this printf statement in a while loop. So when we want to when we are going to execute this loop, then what will be the output? This output will be this output on the screen will be printed 5 times hello. And before this we have to initialize the value of I. Suppose I initialize the value of I, that means it start from I less than 5, then 1 less than 2, or we have to do some updation also. So basically this is the concept of the loop we are going to discuss in our video. So I hope it will understand that you will understand that what is the loop, what is the basic concept of the loop, why we need this loop. Why we need this loop? Loop basically used when we want to execute a part of program or block of statements several times. That means we are here executing this printf statement 5 times. That we are not writing the printf statement 5 times. We are just only using a single time, and then we just repeat it again and again within this loop. So basically this is the concept of loop. Okay, now in loops we are having two segments. One is body of the loop and the second is control statement. In the same, you can see this is the body of the loop, and the second one is the control statement. This statement is, you can say, the control statement. That means our loop is basically consist of two segments. First is body of the loop and the second one is the control statement. What control statement does? Control statement basically tests the condition of the repeated execution, how many times it will going to be executed. Okay, and which thing is going to be executed? The body of loop. So both are interrelated to each other. Then okay, this is all about the introduction, and here is the simple the block diagram, or you can say that First we have checking some condition. This condition is the control statement where we are going to test the condition. Then after that, if the condition, there are two things, whether it is true or whether it is false. You can get two things. If it is false, then it will come out from the loop, but when it is true, then it again execute this statement. That means this you can say this is the body of the loop. Whenever the condition is true, it will again and again execute this statements. Okay, so this is all about the loops. Next we have the types of loop. I think you all get that why we need this loops and what are the loop. Next is types of loop. Basically we are having two type of loop depending upon the control statement. That means depending upon the position of the control statement, we are having two type of loop. That first is entry control loop and the second one is exit control loop. What is entry control loop? Entry control loop are those loop where test condition is checked first, okay, then we enter into the loop. Like I have earlier told the example of while loop, where what we are going to do, we are just in while, what we are doing in while, we are just checking the condition here, then we are entering into the loop. Okay, these are the statement. So basically what are the entry control loop? Where we are at least once where we are at the starting we are just checking the condition before execution the program. Means at the entry of the loop we are checking the condition, then we are enter into the loop. After only if the condition is true, if the condition is satisfied, then only we enter into the loop. Otherwise we cannot enter into. If the condition is fail here, suppose condition is failure, we do not enter into the loop. Okay, we directly exit from the loop, and before or outside the loop or other statement are outside the loop the statements are here will be executed. So these are the entry control loop, means where the condition where this condition is checked before entering the loop body. Okay, these are entry control loop, and we are having while and for loop are the example of entry control. Second one is exit control loop. It is just opposite to the entry control loop. In exit control loop, what will be happening here, that here here test condition is checked after executing the body of the loop. What does it mean? We are not here checking the condition here. Before this we are checking the condition. Okay, like I'm going to give you an example. Suppose do, then we are just executing. Suppose these are the statement here. Okay, and then here we are applying the condition and we are checking the condition here. This is the exit control loop. What is happening here? In exit control loop, first execution is happening, at least once execution is happening here. After that our condition is checked. So in this exit control loop, what will happening? At least once you get the output, whether you are giving the true condition or whether you are giving the false condition, means at least once it will be executing or it will give you the output. But in entry control loop you will only enter into the loop after checking the condition. If the condition is satisfied, then only you can executing or you can get the output, otherwise you cannot get the output. Okay, so these are the type of loop. Okay, these type are based on the position of the control statement. Now we have two more category, counter control loop and the sentinel control loop. In this, these are based on the nature of the control variable. What is control variable here? So, okay, suppose I have write like this, I equals to 1 while I am giving some condition, I is less than 5, and suppose I want to print f hello. Okay, so this is the program. Suppose this is the code. So what will happening here? I am initializing some value. I am initializing this variable with 1. That means this is a variable, and this variable is known as the counter variable. Means this is, you can say, the counter variable. Okay, now depend upon this variable we are categorized further loop into two types. That first is counter control loop. What does it mean? it mean is that when we have definite number of repetition, means we know that how many times of loop will be going to execute. Like in this example, I know that 5 time my loop will be, or 4 time my loop will be going to execute. That means after 4 time, after 4 time it will be stopped. Okay, that means I can easily count the number of repetition in this loop. Okay, so what is counter control loop? Where we know how many times of the body of the loop will be going to be executed is known as counter control loop. On the other hand, we have sentinel control loop. What does it mean? Where we don't know the exactly how many numbers of time it will be going to execute. Means indefinite repetition we have used when number of repetition we don't know. Okay, for example, if I am printing here, or if I am taking example, like I am taking here, we are not using any counter variable here, we are just printing, giving some condition here, like I am giving suppose I equal or I am taking any character op equals to y. Suppose I am taking this type of condition. That means here whenever I am pressing the alphabet y, then only it will going to execute, otherwise it will not otherwise I don't know how many times of it will be going to repeat. That means I am giving a condition, I am giving a certain number of condition that whenever I will press y, then only we can say that it will the end of the data. Okay, so that is known as the sentinel control loop. So okay, so that's all. These are about the counter control loop and the sentinel control loop. Next, our further categorization of, or we can say further loops are categorized into 3 types: for loop, while loop, DoWhile. Here for and while are the entry control loop. Okay, these are the entry control loop. What does the entry control loop means? Before execution we are going to check the condition, and this is the exit control loop. What does it mean? At least once we are going to execute the program, we are going to execute the code, then only we can check the condition. So these are the type of classes. Now we will going to discuss in detail one by one. So first is while loop. What while loop is does? So while loop, as I earlier told, that while loop is a entry control loop. What does it mean? Here before entering into the loop, it will check the condition like this. First, here we are using basically four steps. Where what are these 4 steps? First, we are going to initialize some value. This is the syntax of our while loop. First, we have to initialize some value. Then what we'll have to do? We have to check the condition. We are giving here some condition. Conditions are maybe any expression. You can use any expression like this. If I am taking condition like I is less than 5, this is also a condition. If I am taking I is less than 2 plus 3, this is also a condition. Like this is, we are giving some expression into this condition. Okay, but we do not give any non-zero value. Oh sorry, we do not give any zero value. If you are giving any zero value here, suppose I am giving here 0, that means the condition is false. In C programming, 0 means false and 1 means true. So we cannot give the 0 into the condition here. If we give the 0 here, that means it will give you false value. If you give false value, that means it will not enter into the loop, it just comes out from the loop. So we cannot give the 0 here. So what is the condition here? The condition must be any expression, any true value or any non-zero value. That means where loop iterates while the condition is true. So this is the while loop. Now I will going to discuss the flowchart of loop and their steps of loop. Basically, it has 5 steps. What are the 5 steps? Okay, sorry. These are the 5 steps. First is we have to initialize some value. Suppose I am taking I equals to 1. We are initializing some value before execution, before giving any condition. We have to initialize the value in counter variable. This is the counter variable. After that, we are entering into the loop. That means this is the first step. Second step is we are checking the condition. Okay. Now third, we are entering into the loop. After that we are entering into the loop. With this body of the loop we have the updation, or you can say modification also happening here. Okay, this is the fourth step. Now after this fourth step, again our condition check, then again body of execution is body of loop is executed, then these are the steps. When the condition is false, it come out from the loop. Okay, like this. If the condition is true, non-zero, then the body of the loop is executed, and then variable is updated. Which variable is updated? This counter variable is updated. I will more explain it in more detail with the help of examples. Then you will, I think, more understandable this. More then it will more clear to you. Okay, here we are having a program. What we have to do here, we have to display first 5 natural numbers. Okay, so for that we are using the while loop. With the help of this while loop we are going to print 5 natural number like this. Okay, let's see what is happening here. This is the basic, or I think all you aware about the C program. So this is a simple C program where we are using the loops. Okay, as I have earlier told that we are using the 5 steps here. So first step, we are initializing the value. After this we are checking the condition. That means this is the second step. After condition is true or false, like suppose we are initializing the value of I is 1. Suppose I is 1, we are checking is I is less than 1. Yes, the condition is true. Then we entering into the loop. Here we are having a printf statement. Then we are going to print the I. What is the value of whatever the value of I we are going to print here, that the output will be 1. Similarly we are updating the value of I. Okay, like this. Now the I value become 2. Again we will going to check the condition from here. This is the third step. From here this is the fourth step. After the fourth step we are again repeating the step number 2. First we are going to initialize, second we are checking the condition, third we are just executing the printf statement, or whatever the statement we are written in the while loop or any loop, we are just going to execute. Then fourth is updation, and then again this will be repeated up to when it will be repeated. It will repeat it up to whenever the condition is given here. So up to the condition going to be fail, then we will going to be stop here. Okay, like this we will check the condition of I with 2. It is also satisfied, then it will print, the output will be 2. After that the condition will be 3, then again the output will be 3 here. Similarly again repetition is done, then the value of I will become 4, and it will check with the condition. Now it also true, then the output will be 4. Again it will check the condition. Now 5, then it will check the condition. Again we get the output 5. So this is all about the while loop. So you can see that okay, you can clearly see in that only enter when it will first execute, check the condition, then only it will enter into the loop. So this is the while loop. After while loop, now let's discuss okay, now next is do while loop. Do while loop is basically just opposite to the while loop, where what will happening here, it is just the working of the loops are similar. Working is same here. That means if you are using while loop, do while loop, or you are using the for loop, but the working is same, but the syntax is different. Okay, in do while loop, what will happening here, the condition is check after the body loop execution. Like this, we are here initializing the value. Suppose we are initializing I equals 12, then in body of loop we want to print something, then we are printing here hello. Okay, then what will happening here, it will give you output do while, then here it will check the condition. Suppose I am giving the value of I equals to 1, and I am checking I is I is less than equals to 0. Is this condition is true? No, this condition is false because I is 1, I is 1 less than 0, condition fails. But condition is fail until it will give you output at least once. It will print hello. Why it will print hello? Because is after initialization it directly come into the body of the loop and it will execute whatever in the body of the loop, and then it will check the condition. That's why we are saying at least once we get the output here. So this is the similarly it is also working for the it also execute the repeat or it's also execute the body of the loop, or you can body of the loop at least once, or it is also used for the repetition work, or you can say the iteration. It is used for the iteration, but the syntax is different from the while loop. That's why it is known as exit control loop. I hope you understand why we call it exit control loop, because at the exit we are going to check the condition. After that we are having its flowchart and the step of execute. Again it also has 4 steps in it. What are the 4 steps? That first we are going to initialize the value. We have initialize. Okay, suppose we are initialize I equals to 1, then we enter into the you can easily check the difference between the while and do while. That in while loop what we are doing, we are first checking the condition here, but in do while loop what we are doing here, we are executed the body of the loop, then we check the condition. After that we are going to check the condition. Okay, if the condition is true, then it again execute the body of the loop. Okay, so like this you can check the, this is the flow chart of the while loop. Okay, do while loop, so here you can easily see the steps. Then in first step initialization is done, then it entered into the body of the loop, then it will check the condition. If the condition is true, it will repeat the steps, or it will repeat again the body of its loop. Then if the condition is false, then it come out from the loop. What is statement X? Statement X is basically outside the loop. Anything you are writing outside the loop, that is comes into the statement X. Okay, now let's see one example of do while loop. Here again we are going to print 10 natural numbers using do while loop. Okay, so same code I am using here. Okay, now let's see. Again we are taking a variable I, then we initialize this variable with value 1. Here what is the I is counter variable. Then we just using do while loop, so you can easily see in do while loop our at least once your output will be printed. So like this, suppose our I is 1, we are taking I equals to 1. Now before checking the condition, it will print the value 1. Okay, with the help of this, then we are using plus plus I plus plus is the increment of post increment operator. What does it mean? It increment the value of I by 1. Okay, so now the I value become 2. Okay, now the I value become 2, or our output we are having 1. Then again now after increment of the value, it will check the condition. Is I is less than equals to 10? Yes, now the I value become 2. Now it will check with the 2. 2 is less than equals to 10. Okay, condition true. If the condition is true, it will again go into the loop number. That means this is the step number 1, this is step number 2, this is step number 3, and this will the step number 4. After step number 4, it will repeat the loop. Okay, so like this, now we will check the we will enter into the loop. Now we will print the value of I will become 2, increment the I value. Now I value become 3. Again it will check the condition. It will check the condition 3 is less than equals to 10. Yes, condition true. Again it will repeat the loop. Now it will print I value become 3. Similarly, it will print all the value after becoming I value 11. That means at a time after 10, it become I value 11. Then it will stop. So this is the concept of the while loop. do while loop, sorry. I hope it will clear to all. Now the next loop is for loop. For loop is the repetition control structure that allow you to efficiently write a loop that need to execute a specific number of time. What does it mean? Means same, its working is also same, because we are studying the loops concept. So loop are all loop are same, but their syntax and their working is different type. Means we are doing a same work, but we are having different type of methods doing the same work. Similarly, we are having three type of loop. Okay, the work done or the work they are doing is same, but with the different type of methods they are doing. So similarly, what does the for loop is doing? For loop is, this is the syntax of for loop. You can clearly see what will happening here: initialization, condition, and updation. All the three things are comes under in a single statement. You can easily clearly see in here that we are initializing here, then condition we are checking here, then updation also here happening here, and then the body of the loop will be executed. So this is the syntax of for loop. For loop is the most popular loop instruction because it is very easy to use, because all the three steps are comes into a single statement. So there will be less chance of error, less chance of mistakes. So we are using for loop here. So let's understand for loop. We will see the flowchart and the steps of execution. Here also we are having again all 5 steps we are using here. Okay. So first step again we are you can see the working of for loop and working of while loop is the same. You can see the flowchart, you can easily understand this working of the both the loops are same like this. We are initializing in similarly in while loop we are first initializing, then we second is we are checking the condition, and third step what we are going to do, we are just executing the body with updation or updation, or you can say the modification we are doing here. Modification, so both are happening here. Then after the fourth, this is the fourth step. After the fourth step we are again repeating the step. This is the fifth step. So you can easily check and after this is the false. Okay, yeah, written here false. Okay. So this for loop, the working of the for loop is same as the while loop. But what is the difference between the while and the for? While, the difference of the syntax. In while loop we are using the initialization in the first step, then we are giving the condition, then we are checking the we are executing the body of the loop. But what does happening in the for loop? In a single statement, like I have okay, in the single statement, like this is a single statement, we are using initialization, then condition check, and then the updation. So this is the for loop. So here are some basic or important points for loops, that you can initialize, you can give more than one initialization in a single loop. Like this, we can use with the help of comma operator, you can initialize more than one variable in a same loop. Like you are initializing here I equals to 0, comma z equals to 0. It is also allowed. Also it is allowed like this also. You can increment or decrement the value more than one in a single statement. This is also allowed. After that, initialization, loop continuation, and increment can be contain arithmetic expression also. That means this is a arithmetic expression. This is the condition where we are using the arithmetic operation. But the arithmetic operation must be solved, must be have some value. Like we are giving expression z is less than equals to 4 star x star y. So what will happening here? We are putting the value of x and y, and we get the value, a single value. So it will also allow here. Okay. Then next point is increment may be negative. That means you can use plus plus I. It will also allow. You can use minus minus I. That means this is the increment, and these are the decrement. Both can be allowed. After that, if the loop continuation condition is initially false, the body for the loop is not performed. Yes, if the condition here become false, the loop will the execution will not be allowed, because it cannot enter into the loop. what will happening in the entry control loop? Entry control loop is that loop which first satisfy the condition, then only enter into the loop. So it is not allowed here if the condition is false. Okay, so that's all about the for loop. Now we will discuss an example of for loop. Again we are printing the 10 natural number using the loops. Okay. For loop, using the for loop. Again we were taking the same example. Now you can clearly understand the all the three examples, all the three loops, that how they are giving the output like this. Because in first step, what we are going to do, we are initializing the value. Suppose we are taking a variable I. Okay, so in first step we are initializing the value. Suppose we are having I value 1. Then what we are going to do, we check the condition I is less than equals to 10. What is the value of I? I is less than equals to 10. If this is the second step. If the condition is true, it will enter into the loop. Then it will execute this block of body, or you can say the body of the loop. Anything that this body, these statement can maybe one statement, two statement, or you can say the compound statement also allowed here. We are not saying that only a single statement is allowed here. More than one statement are also allowed. A block of code is allowed here. So this is the body of the loop. Then whenever the condition is true, it will execute. Now the value of I will be 1 print here. Then from here, this is the third number step. After that, it will go into the increment and decrement. Go for its increment and decrement. This is the fourth number step. That means now the I value become 2. Okay. After that, it will again check the condition. Now with the condition I is less than equals to 2. Similarly, it again condition is true, then it enter into the loop and it will print the I value 2. Similarly, it will work. This is the example of for loop. Now what are the nested loop? Nested loop are basically loops inside the another loop. Means we are using for loop once. Within this loop, we are having one more loop like this. Here we are one more loop. Okay, so what are the nested loop? Loops within loops. Where we are using these loops, basically these are used to print some pattern. Suppose we want to print a pattern, so there we are going to use the nested loops. So like this is the example for the nesting loop. Here this loop is going to be for I. Here we are taking I, so this loop is going to be taking the value of I, and here this will be going to be for Z. Means I for rows and J for column, like this. First for loop is for the I equals to 1, I equals to 2, 3, 4, 5, and the second one for the J. These are for the rows. Sorry, these are for the rows. I is for the row and J inner loop will for the column. So like this we are going to print a pattern. So this is the example of nesting loop. Now we are having break and continue. What does it mean? Break is basically used when we want to come out from the loop. Means escape earlier from a loop, or you can say come out, terminate the execution of the loop. Break are used. Okay, like this example we are using here. We are giving some we are using for loop, and in this for loop we are using a if condition where we are using print. Whenever the condition is true, it will come out from the loop. Means it terminate completely. Means suppose it will goes 1, 2, 3, 4, and after 4, when the condition is true, 5 equals to 5, that it will directly come out from the loop. No further it will come out from here. No further execution will be done here. This is the break. And what will the continue do? It is not coming out from completely from the loop. It will just come out from the currently loop. Like here, if you are having the condition is true, it come out from that condition here, come out from here, but it does not come out from this loop. It come out from only from here. Then again it will printing up to 10. So this is the continue. So that's all for this lecture. These are the some book references. You can, if you want to go with more details, so you can refer these books. So thank you. We will discuss more topic related to this subject in further videos. Thank you. Jai.